Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me at this time. My name is Shavi Zane, and I'm coming on to bring a message for the chosen. I want to talk to you all about becoming comfortable with being the heartbreaker. And by no means am I saying this in a way where I'm encouraging you to go around mistreating people, but as a chosen seed, that's just not in your nature. It's not in your makeup to purposely or maliciously mistreat people. But it is a part of your growth process. It's like the heartbreak is a byproduct of something else, right? So you are being called, and you have already been called to walk away from a lot of people that just don't appreciate who you're becoming. A lot of people who have misused and abused your kindness, took your compassion and your empathy as a weakness, and they used it to their advantage, drained you in a lot of ways. And so, as a result of your own healing and your spiritual growth, you're guided to walk away from them, or sometimes the Most High creates divine interventions that completely catapults them out of your life. And it's like it catches you off guard. You wasn't ready, but you look back and you say, I get it. I understand why that person could not remain in my energy because of who I am now and where I'm being called to go. So you begin to appreciate the tower moments and the destructive energy and the divine interventions that comes in to remove people when sometimes you're either not courageous enough to walk away or somehow still dealing with some abandonment issues and it causes you to hold on for a little bit too long. Becoming the heartbreaker is a necessary part of the journey. There's going to be a lot of people, and there are currently a lot of people who are heartbroken because of your absence. And it's largely because they benefited in a lot of ways by having you around, whether it was emotionally, financially, sexually, in however, intellectually, whatever you had to offer as a chosen seed. I'm sure you had much to offer many people. And at that time, they took advantage of it, but they took it for granted. But now that you've been called to walk away, people's hearts are broken. But you want to consider that a broken heart is a byproduct of something else. And the something else is generally connected to a heart that was already on the verge of breaking, right? Or a heart that's already been broken many times before, but it's a person. You might have broken the heart of someone who they just keep putting band-aids on it. They don't do any work. They go through one traumatic situation after another, from childhood all the way into adulthood, and then they just become this tyrant. They become this person who lacks compassion, and they just become the user, or they become entitled. Whatever the case may be, their heart is already very fragile, but they've built up this icy wall around it that in their minds is impenetrable. But then you come along as the chosen seed. And they watch you, though. They watch you grow. They watch you become the better version of yourself. And the lack of energy from you when you withdraw yourself from them is all it takes to completely not only melt that ice, but to also break that heart, or to at least reveal to them that that heart it was already very fragile. And you will be that one person that could really bust it wide open. Okay. Your position as the chosen seed is to break hearts, because breaking someone's heart from a space of love and doing it from a space of integrity gives that person the opportunity to finally take a look at themselves and say, I'm wounded. I got to do more than just put a band-aid on this, because a band-aid is not enough. I got to go deeper. I got to do some heart surgery. I got to get deep, and see what's blocking me, what's blocking my vessels and my arteries, what's going on here that's not allowing me to flow in the energy of love. You make that person take a look. And I'm not saying that everybody is going to do the work when you walk away, because many of them won't. Many of them will use the same tactic that they've always used, except this time instead of getting a Band-Aid, they're going to get something that's a lot larger to cover up that wound, because you're going to leave a gaping wound in their heart when you leave them, or if you already have. But they're still not going to do the work. Many of them won't. And then you'll find that some of them will, but it's going to take them a long time to do the work, because it's the ego that gets in the way of them accepting that a large part of why you're not in their life deals with their character, not their behavior patterns, but their character. Not mistakes that they made, but their character. Because anytime you do something habitually and you do it over and over again, it's no longer a mistake. It was no longer, oh, I was just upset and it was just a moment of, impulsiveness. No, this becomes their character. And so that type of energy takes a whole lot of self-evaluating, a whole lot of being honest with yourself and really going deep to understand how you got to become that person and what you need to do in order to clear that energy. And it takes a whole lot of humility. And so a lot of people are not willing to go through the process of healing because it also takes isolation to heal. And so become okay with breaking hearts. A lot of times the chosen seed, you can be so compassionate and so empathetic that you're just like, but I don't want to hurt that person. I don't want that person to, to be emotional, or I don't want, you might feel like, okay, the person, they might have threatened, if you leave me, I'm gonna hurt myself. If you leave me, they're making threats to harm themselves in some way, shape, or form. And in that case, yeah, call and, see if you can get somebody to watch them or whatnot. But it doesn't mean that you continue to stay and be their doormat. It doesn't mean that you continue to stay and allow them to harness your energy because they're too afraid or lacking the confidence to do it on their own without your energy. It doesn't mean that you stay put and continue to allow yourself to be abused, misused, all because you don't want to hurt somebody. Hurting somebody pain reminds you that there's a wound. Without pain, you wouldn't even know that there was a cut. Without pain, you wouldn't even know that your hand or your arm was on fire. I mean, you need the pain to alert you. And so hurting someone is not a bad thing. It's when you do it from a space of malicious intent when it becomes bad. But if something hurts somebody, it's because there was a wound there that needed to be addressed. And so you removing yourself and creating healthy boundaries for yourself allows them to feel that sensation that they've been avoiding on purpose. A lot of times, people who have gone through things, they numb themselves out, and they might use substances to do it. They might use work to do it. They might use sex to do it. And some people use people to numb themselves out, or all of the above. But in the case where people use other people to numb themselves out or to prevent from feeling the wound, that's when they take advantage of you. And it's like hurt people, but they don't want to acknowledge the fact that they're hurt. But everything that they do is projecting the energy of hurt and pain off onto you. And so then you just become the volunteer punching bag. And as a chosen seed, a part of your growth and a part of your self-love, it looks like loving yourself enough to say no, loving yourself enough to set healthy boundaries, loving yourself enough to say isolation is necessary if everybody who's in your circle is toxic. Loving yourself enough to give yourself permission to go within and to find out why you're codependent on the energy of someone who misuses and abuses you. And so I say it again. Get okay, become okay, get comfortable with hurting people. If it's a necessary part of your journey, give thanks that you're strong enough to take on the assignment. And you're strong enough to hurt them from a space of love, though, because your only objective is to ensure that you're safe, you're at peace, and if you care about a person, then your objective for them or your desires for them is to see them actually heal. And a person cannot heal if they don't know that there's a wound there that needs to be addressed. And if your absence is what helps to trigger the pain that's going to allow them to find the wound and address it, then take on your assignment gladly and give thanks that you have the courage to fulfill it. So that's my message for you all. I love you. If you find that this message resonates with you in any way, please be sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below, and I'll talk to you all next time.